Hi everybody, this is Lara at Pure Elliott Wave.com. I'm going to update ZCash with you today. This was a request from one of my members who subscribes to my weekly Bitcoin analysis, which I provide every week on Pure Elliott Wave.com. And I apologise sincerely for the sound quality on this video. My microphone has decided to die today, and so I will need to buy a new one. It's a few years old, and I think the sea salt spray has just finally made it give up the ghost. So I'm going to keep doing that in Panama. I'm going to go through on my weekly chart. I saw a 5-wave impulse complete from this high to this low. That subdivides okay. So we've got a 5 down followed by possibly a new 5 up. I'm not going to give it label in its cycle degree. I'm just going to label this a primary wave 5 over here, primary 1 over here. It looks like primary 2 could be over down here, but I'm going to look at some technicals with you and see if there's enough support for that view. This subdivides really nicely as a 5-wave impulse. 1, 2, impulse for 3, 4, extended impulse for 5. 5 is a lot longer than 3, which is a lot longer than 1. That's pretty normal for cryptocurrency. From this high to this low, this subdivides well as a zigzag. 5, 3, 5. Intermediate A subdivides as a leading contracting diagonal. Intermediate B a relatively quick zigzag. And intermediate C extended as an impulse. Extended in terms of time, but not in price. Intermediate C was 273.71 in length, quite close to equality in length with intermediate A, which was 286.87. So there's a relationship with equality. Let's put a channel around this, and this would be the bottom line. Depending on your risk appetite, you might want to wait for this channel. That's of no use. You might want to wait for this channel to be breached by upward movement before you have confidence that the bear market is indeed over. And I'll put a channel around C. I think that might be the best thing. Let's try an Elliott channel from 1 to 3 with a copy on 2 here. That looks like it's fairly conservative, but not so conservative as to be useless. So when this channel is breached by upward movement, then you can have confidence that there is a sustained low in place. But for the short term, a new high above 51.14, that would add confidence. If we have a new high by 51.14 by any amount to any time frame, I would have confidence that this last wave here, labelled minor wave 5, would be over, because within it, no second wave correction may move beyond its start above 51.14. So that would be the earliest price point that would tell us that there may be a sustained low down here. So depending on your risk appetite, you may wait for this price point to be breached, or if you are more conservative, you may want to wait for this channel to be breached with a full daily candlestick above and not touching this trend line. If we get that, then I would have substantial confidence that this low is in place. Let's take a look at the daily chart, and we're going to focus on the end of minor 4, minor 5, and the start of what's happening in here. Here's the end of minor 4, double zigzag, minor 5, a really good looking 5-wave impulse. I'm going to label a first wave at intermediate degree incomplete, with minor wave 1 a leading contracting diagonal, minor 2 a very shallow zigzag following it. This is not normal for a second wave, following the first wave leading diagonal, but the subdivisions fit, and this explains all of the overlapping in this movement here. This wave count is quite bullish. It expects a third wave at minor degree may be in its early stages. When intermediate 1 is complete, then intermediate 2 may not move beyond the start of 1 below 13.24. Technical analysis on the weekly chart. There is a bullish piercing pattern at the low here for the week beginning 12th of March, so there's a bullish candlestick reversal pattern down there. There were a couple here though. Here's a piercing pattern, here's a hammer. Did lead to some upward movement, but it didn't indicate a sustained low. There's a bullish engulfing pattern down here, did not indicate a sustained low, so we do have a bullish reversal pattern, but we need to put that into context of other indicators. Resistance at 48, support at 40. On the weekly chart, there is not push from volume pushing price higher. The piercing pattern, however, did have push from volume compared to the previous downward week. There was an increase in volume for the piercing pattern. So we can have a little confidence in that bullish piercing pattern. But it's concerning for a bullish case that volume is declining for ZCash. If we're seeing a third wave in its early stages, we shouldn't be seeing a decline in volume. Off this major sustained low of week beginning 8th of March 2020, volume did show an increase right up off the low. So this would be what we would expect as a normal look for the start of a strong bullish trend. Again, volume shows an increase for a bullish run, strong volume here. So that is really concerning for a bullish case, this current decline in volume. On balance, volume has a highly technically significant, quite narrow range. We see above resistance, a break above resistance or a break below support that will provide a technically significant signal. There's no signal at this stage, so on the weekly chart, I draw those support and resistance lines and I watch them pretty carefully. For a bullish case, I might wait until on balance volume has a clear, obvious break above this yellow resistance line, and that would give a little confidence for the short term at least in a bullish Elliott Wave count. ADX on the weekly chart still indicates a downward trend, which is extreme but not very extreme. This market, the trend can get on the weekly chart, I would say 40 would be very extreme for this market. It's only at 25 ADX, the ADX line's at 24.13, so not as extreme as it can get for this market. The downward trend did reach extreme, it reached about 29, but it could reach further extremes, so this doesn't tell us that the downward trend is necessarily over. Back here on week beginning 1st of January 2023, the trend was very extreme and yet prices continue lower. RSI is neutral, it hasn't reached oversold and there is no bullish divergence. Money flow is neutral, it also did not reach oversold, but there is bullish divergence between lows and price and money flow. So that adds just a little bit of confidence to the Elliott Wave count. Stochastics neutral, also exhibiting bullish divergence. And ATR declining throughout the bear market and now flattening off, still a very slight decline. Let's look at the daily chart. On the daily chart, there's a strong bullish engulfing candlestick pattern, also forming part of the morning star bullish reversal pattern. This is the 12th of March 2023. It didn't have push from volume though. This first candlestick here had weaker volume than the previous two downward sessions. So we cannot have a lot of confidence in that bullish candlestick pattern, either the morning star or the bullish engulfing pattern. We can draw a support line across recent lows. While price remains above this support line, it is possible that there could be a new upward trend. If we see a break below the support line, then the probability of that would reduce. Straight up off the low, no support from volume for the first upward session, but after that we do see a little support from volume. But overall, as price is rising, volume is overall declining again on both time frames, weekly and daily. The decline in volume is a concern for the bullish case. This does not support the Elliott Wave count. We can draw more short-term resistance and support lines on unbalanced volume on the daily chart. Watch for a breakout that will provide a signal above resistance bullish, below support bearish. These lines though don't have as much technical significance as the lines on the weekly chart, so I'd probably just refer to those lines on the weekly chart that I showed you before. ADX on the daily chart is given no signal yet because it's not yet at 15, but if the ADX line continues to increase, if it reaches 15 and it's coming up from these low levels below both DX lines, if it reaches 15, that will provide a very strong bullish signal. 15 is the filtering point that I'm using to filter out false signals, so too early. As yet, no signal from ADX. The previous downward trend has reached extreme on both time frames. It reached a very extreme back here, above 40 and above both DX lines. This is back in November last year. And now it's declining in fluctuation. No clear trend at the daily level. RSI is in neutral territory. It reached fairly oversold on the daily chart. That adds just a little bit of confidence to the bullish Elliott Wave count, but there's no bullish divergence. Money flow also reached oversold at the last major low. No bullish divergence there either, it's currently neutral. Stochastics is in overbought territory, so with no clear trend and resistance above about 40, I'd expect a turn and an end of this upward swing and the start of a downward swing down to support about 20. ADX strongly declining as price moves higher. That's really concerning as well for the bullish case. Not a lot of technical support for this Elliott Wave account at the moment. I would want to see, this is my bottom line for ZCash, I want to see this trend line breach. I want to see first this confidence point passed, but for me, I want to see a full daily candlestick above this channel, a green candlestick not touching this trend line. If that happens, then I would have confidence in this Elliott Wave count. While price is below this trend line, this wave count comes with the strong caveat that there is only a little support from technical evidence that this low is to be sustained. There's not enough support for me to have real confidence in it. That's an update of ZCash for you. I'm on the road again. I'm going to Panama City this week for a few nights and then on to Barbados for a few months. So I hope I won't be able to give you any more free analysis this week because I'll be travelling, but I will hope to be back into it on a more regular basis next week.